Welcome, FNewsy57 here. I'm back on Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on my Xbox, and today, if you want to get a ton of gumballs, just like I have shown here from my previous match, which there's actually more gumballs than what the game displays, because the list continues down past what you can see there, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So now, as most folks probably know, but if you didn't know, I'm going to go over it real quick. Gobblegums are carrying forward from Black Ops 6 to Black Ops 7, so since we're basically at the Black Ops 7 waiting room at the moment, you might as well go ahead and stockpile as many gobbles as you can get your hands on. This includes all of your ultra rares like your Perkaholics, Hidden Powers, Timed Out, Near-Death Experience, Raindrops, all those fun ones, your legendaries, your epics, and of course, your rares. Though, if you've been playing the game for quite some time like I have, you probably have a ton of rare gobbles and even maybe some 99 plus stacks of epics. That's okay. You are not required to use any gobbles for this strategy, and the best part is, not only will you be farming gobbles, you'll also be farming some XP and zombie kills to go with it. Plus, this is 100% solo and AFK. You cannot beat this if you want to farm Gobblegums and actually get some, well, I don't know, maybe you're at work, or you're sleeping, or you're just taking a deuce. Either way, very easy to do. I'll show you how to set it up. It doesn't matter what melee weapon or field upgrade you bring in. Lethal is entirely personal preference. I do recommend you bring in a tactical as a shock charge, and I also recommend that you do bring in a gun with decent damage that is capable of getting crits. Something like the assault rifle with the underbarrel drill charge launcher will make the setup for this process a lot easier. If you do want to use a temporal gift and double points, you can, but let's get right into how you set this up. So first off, you're going to go into directed mode, solo game, and you're going to need to go to Citadel Demore. Before we actually go into the map though, I do want to show you the must-have augments. We will be using Stamina Up, Quick Revive, Juggernog, and of course Melee Macchiato. The important perks or augments for the perks are going to be Probiotic and Hardened Plates for Juggernog, and then Melee Macchiato you will need Espresso on. The rest is entirely personal preference. If you want to be extra safe, I would recommend that you buy Elemental Pop and make sure that you have the major augment Imperial Peach so that when enemies hit you, they have a chance of triggering an ammo mod. That combined with Chill Berry, which slightly reduces the cooldown of all ammo mods, can be extremely helpful, even though we will be getting rid of parasites. Every once in a long while, you may still have to deal with a parasite, and since you'll be AFK, letting the ammo mod take care of it is ideal. Additionally, at the time of recording, we do have a double XP and double Gobblegums event active, so this is the perfect time to do this over the weekend, but all of the information in the video can be used during just normal gameplay time. So I'm going to get this video posted as quickly as possible. YouTube does take a little while to process, and unfortunately, I did have a power outage, so I lost my original recording. I'll try to make this as quickly as possible, but it will take a little bit, so please use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead. What you're going to want to do initially is we're going to need to get Pack-a-Punch turned on. We're also going to need to go ahead and build 3 swords before we can get started with this. So allow yourself a good 15 to 20 minutes. I will go over the gumball drop information for anybody who doesn't know that, but to make this easier, we're going to bring in our shock charge, come up here past the lion door, and then we'll locate the power box on the wall, throw your shock charge at it, and you'll be able to go ahead and get lightning rod number 1. If you need a more in-depth walkthrough for how to complete all of the Easter egg steps, not a problem. I do have that posted on my channel, but you don't need to do the full Easter egg. So pretty much from this point, all you need to do is get to Pack-a-Punch. So go ahead and try to make sure that all the zombies that you kill with headshots. This way you'll get as many points as possible. And of course take full advantage of any power-ups, bonus points, double points, etc. that may drop. With that being said, there really isn't too much that I have to show you on the way in here. I think everybody knows about the spare change locations, the door buys, and all of that fun stuff. So just take your time and try to unlock Pack-a-Punch. You're going to want to be on round 4 or 5 when you're unlocking Pack-a-Punch. I will meet you there. Alright, so depending on how lucky you were with power-ups, and if you were like me and didn't get any double points power-ups, you're going to be coming down in here to where Pack-a-Punch is, probably on round 6, but between 4 and 6. Shoot the 3 locks off, and then if you brought in the underbarrel drill charge launcher like I did, especially if you have an extra shock charge, which you probably will as they drop pretty quickly, you'll be able to make extremely short work of the Guardian, pick up the Blood Ethereum Crystal, and then go ahead and activate Pack-a-Punch. You can also use this as a strategy in regular games. This way you go ahead and get SAM trials available faster. Now, of course, you're going to want to go ahead and talk to the doc here so that we actually can get Stamp Zombies to spawn in, because Stamp Zombies don't spawn in normally. With that being said, the next step is very easy. All you need to do is go ahead and play the game out until you hit round 10, where you get your first Stamp Zombie, and then we're going to be building 3 swords. In the process of building those 3 swords, if you already know how to do it, that's perfectly fine, but I will include them in the video for those folks who might be newer, or simply never have built one of the swords before. With that being said, we can do one other thing ahead of time, and that is go ahead and actually get our second lightning rod. So make your way out of the castle, down towards Deadshot Daiquiri. Just before you get there, you'll notice a wooden crate and a barrel, and in between those 2 objects will be our second lightning rod. Unfortunately, we can't get the third one yet, and we can't build the swords out of order because we're in directed mode, but that's okay. So go ahead and wait for the final zombie to spawn. You're going to want to make as many points as you possibly can between now and round 10, so if possible, get headshot kills. This way you can go ahead and buy your perks. Your very first perk should be Juggernog. Your second perk, in my opinion, should be Melee Macchiato. Your third perk being Quick Revive, and then depending on how much money you have, you will want at least a 2-plate vest, if not a 3-plate vest. And while we're doing this, I would recommend Stamina Up, but that is entirely personal preference. I'll meet you on Wave 10. Once you arrive on Wave 10, you're going to notice that you have a helmeted zombie. He's immune to headshots, so you have to kill him with body shots. When you kill him, he's going to drop a stamp. You can take the stamp to any of the statues in a normal game. In directed mode, unfortunately, you can only take the stamp to the statue that you're told to. So that means that we're going to have to first build the lion sword, which is extremely easy. You should have earned more than enough points if you've been prioritizing crit kills, and maybe get a little bit lucky with 1 or 2 double points drops. So again, this is the easiest of the swords to build, but I'm going to show you how to do it. We have our 2-plate vest here, Juggernog, and Quick Revive with Stamina Up. So this is about as easy as we possibly can get, but it is not required that you have these perks. It's just these are the perks that we'll be using for this AFK method, so might as well go ahead and have them. And even Stamina Up isn't 100% required. It's just we want to go through this as relatively quickly as possible. The first fire is located on the ramparts, the second fire is located down there at spawn, and then the third fire is all the way farthest away in the spawn. Any of these zombies that you kill by meleeing or sliding into while you're on fire will refill your health, so you don't have to worry about that little mechanic. Otherwise, it can be a bit tricky to get all the way up here without dying, especially if you don't have Juggernog and Stamina Up. To get to spawn faster, I do recommend that you take the cannon, assuming that you have the 500 points you're willing to spend. It's alright, though, if you take a little bit longer, because, well, let's go ahead and explain how Gobblegums work. For those of you that don't actually know this, Gobblegums are not awarded simply based on rounds completed. Gobblegums are actually awarded based on the amount of time that you spend in the game. So during a double gums event, that is 1 gumball spin approximately once every 12 minutes. It can be as low on average as once every 10 minutes, but usually it works out to about once every 12 minutes. 12.5 if you're unlucky. During a non-double gums event, that time goes to 1 gobblegum spin per about every 22 to 24 minutes. Now you're simply going to need to flip the round. You can use your dragon sword. And speaking of gumball spins, we need another stamp. Here's our first spin of the game. 2 gumballs. We got lucky on that. A soda fountain and a tactical diffusion, both very good gumballs. Gum spin coming in at 18, almost 19 minutes into the game, but more than likely it was actually ready much earlier. It's just I kept that zombie alive instead of killing the zombie and flipping the round. Gumballs can only be awarded at the end of a round going into the next round. So unfortunately, without a way to tell in the game when your gumball spin is fully charged, you may be spending more time than what is absolutely necessary in the game. Buckethead zombies do spawn on ammo waves where you have all these bugs, but sometimes it's easier to just kill off all of the zombies first because, well, the Buckethead zombie is slow. However, if you can't find the last zombie and you grab the Buckethead zombie first, not a big deal. We're going to go ahead and build the sword that we'll be using, which is the lion sword, so take your stamp to the lion statue. And now we're going to have the Lion Bastard Sword. The Lion Bastard Sword challenge a lot of people struggle with for some reason, but it's actually, in my opinion, the second easiest sword. Make sure that your weapon has at least one magazine of ammo in it, because we will need to shoot some symbols. Explosive damage will work for this, but it's not as reliable. So when you pick up this sword, you're going to have 4 parasites that spawn, and they're all supposed to be glowing, but more often than not, only 3 of the 4 parasites are glowing. Go ahead and kill one with your sword, and then follow the on-screen instructions, since this is directed mode, to this door that we passed at the very beginning of the video. And with the glowing sword blade, melee the door to apply the marking to the door. Now you'll see here we just got yet another spin. 1 gumball, the very next wave. It's a legendary on the house. That came in 20.5 minutes. Literally a minute and a half after the first gumball spin. This is entirely possible, but it's not something that should be counted on. Once we have 4 symbols on this lion head door, we can go ahead and interact with it, allowing us to actually enter this area. Place the sword into the pedestal. The symbol on the pedestal is the order you need to shoot, and they will be the same every game. It's going to go bullseye, snowflake, triangle, and then the circle with a line in it. Shoot those symbols in that order, and you'll be able to pick up the fully built lion sword, or the Solaris sword. At which point, all you need to do is go ahead and murder the entire wave worth of zombies. Find yourself 1 more Buckethead zombie, kill it, and pick up its stamp. Then we'll be able to build our last sword. Now, sometimes the Buckethead zombie will be available right away. Other times you might have to actually go through the horde of zombies. So I will leave that up to you and just make a quick edit. Depending on how you've been doing with points, when you go ahead and kill your 3rd Buckethead zombie, pick up his stamp, put the lion sword back at the statue, take the sword to the elk statue, or take the stamp to the elk statue to go ahead and get the Stag Bastard Sword. And then make your way down to where Quick Revive is. There's going to be a zombie that spawns that will be armored, and he has the lightning rod stuck kind of in his chest or upper thigh. Kill him, and then you can pick up the lightning rod. I like to leave the final zombie of the round alive, but at this point you really should not be struggling with it. This is more just force of habit from playing regularly. I just like to do this next step with the last zombie alive, so I don't have to actually worry about it, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because you will have the melee weapon. You can also do what I did there, which is go ahead and pick up the wonderful 3-plate vest located in the alchemical room or by Pack-a-Punch. Come out here onto the ramparts, insert all 3 lightning rods in the vase, it'll start a storm, and this is going to spawn in a bunch of regular zombies while we wait for our sword to be electrified. We'll need to have the sword out for this step. The zombies with purple eyes you can kill, they don't affect the round. Eventually your sword will become electrified and you'll need to strike the urn with it. If during this time your timer is approximately 13 minutes, feel free to go ahead and kill the last yellow-eyed zombie of the round. This way you can go ahead and flip the round and maybe try to get a Gobblegum in the process. However, keep in mind that if you do that, your chances of dying are going to be higher because more zombies will be spawning in than what is just for this trial. So bear that in mind if you're in a regular game, but in directed mode, it's such a low difficulty, it doesn't really matter much. This storm can go by pretty fast, but sometimes it takes a while to get that third charge. I'm not entirely sure why some games it's faster than others. Once you get the third charge, then you're just going to have these round-based zombies. You can see these are all of our yellow-eyed zombies coming in at us now since we flipped the wave. And then we'll go ahead and grab the completed lightning sword or stag sword. It does look really cool, but it's not the sword that we're going to be using for this. At this point, the only thing that we really need to do is change swords and find our setup spot. So go ahead and, if you want Elemental Pop, buy Elemental Pop before you flip the round to round 12. This is super important for this. Now, you're going to need to advance the round to round 12. And at this point, anything that you have on you for this round is going to be what you have on you completely. Now you need to just find a spot, put your back to a corner, and you can go AFK and just hold down the melee button. So tape down your trigger if you want. But obviously, I recommend that you do this with the lion sword, not the electric sword. So this works in the tavern, this works in tons of different places around the map. Just find a corner where the zombies funnel in from one direction, ideally where not too many parasites can stack up on you at one time, and then with your lion sword, simply just sit there and melee. What this is going to do is it's going to prevent you from being kicked for being inactive, and at the same time, it's going to allow you to just sit in the game and flip rounds. Now, the only downside to doing this is we are in directed mode, and directed mode games typically only last, well, depending on when the devs are messing with it, approximately 5 to 6 hours. The reason why we've gone to round 12 specifically is because on round 12, the game does not normally spawn parasites. It is entirely possible to every once in a long while get a parasite, but it's not normal to get parasites. It took me about 26 minutes with explaining to go ahead and get this all set up, but I got unlucky with the power-up, so yeah, like I said, allow yourself 15 to 20 minutes to get this set up. You can sit wherever you want. I personally like this little fireplace spot because if you do get a parasite, normally they'll spawn right inside the fireplace and you'll be able to insta-kill them with the sword melee. But if for some reason they stay outside, one parasite hitting you is not really a big deal, and more than likely before it can deplete your armor and your health bar, it's going to be hit by the elemental pop, and an ammo mod will kill it. To make this a little bit easier, there are a couple of recommendations that I will make, and these are going to be in your settings. First and foremost, you might already have this setting set up if you don't like controller vibration, but I would recommend that you turn it off. Additionally, I would recommend that you set the dead zone for your right trigger to 0. This will make it so that even the slightest amount of pressure on the right trigger will cause your game and your character to go ahead and melee, regardless of whether you have a elite controller or a controller with trigger stops. Then at this point, all you need to do is make sure that your controller is plugged in. You can see I just plugged my controller in there. And obviously make sure that your console or PC is set not to turn off after a certain amount of time while inactive. At this point, you can now go ahead and leave your controller with either a piece of tape on the trigger, a rubber band around it, or just pushing up against something else that's heavy, and go ahead and go AFK. You are completely fine for like at least the next 5 hours. You don't want your console to shut off, this way you still have a temporary save, but if your worst should happen and your console does shut off, or it doesn't go quite perfectly right and you don't get the temporary save, like I said, it only takes about 15 to 20 minutes to set this up. Additionally, once you have this set up, if you want to, you simply can go ahead and save and quit. So get your gumball spin, then save and quit, and load it back up, and you'll already have everything done, but the timer will be extended back to that fresh timer as if you just started a directed mode game. I really hope that this information helps you out. If you find folks have any questions, please leave a comment. I will do my best to help you out. And if you enjoyed the video, you know, help me out by smashing those like buttons and considering sharing the video with a friend, as that greatly helps out small channels like myself. If you see the hype option, you could also hit that if you're feeling spicy. Of course, if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more Black Ops 6 guides, as well as soon to be Black Ops 7 guides, then if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe. It's free, and go ahead and give that little bell icon a tickle while you're at it. Till next time, my brothers and sisters, thy legion, stay frosty.